Hello, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see here at the start of another Kit Quest Manager Career mode. This time, see we're kind of, after we did FIFA 23 last time with Bayern Munich, we're kind of back in FIFA 23 again. And as you can see here with RC Lens in Ligue 1 in France. So kind of two back-to-back Kit Quests. Kind of, you notice there was here we did a bunch of jersey quests in a row, and then we kind of skipped the Kit Quests in the process for like reasons of not quite being sure what to do with them, and then kind of things happened in the transfer January window for Tottenham that kind of made the decisions a lot easier to make in terms of the, so as you kind of probably surmise by kind of this explanation here based on the last one. Last Kit Quest was Matthias Tell. This one, as you go with RC Lens, is the player of focus for this one is, if we could scroll down here, is this chap right here, Kevin Danso, the kind of or a big kind of the three signings in Tottenham window, the defensive signing, Kevin Danso here. And we kind of were doing this in kind of the 22-23 season because this is the season where Lens kind of basically took PSG almost all the way and finished 1 point behind them in the table in Ligue 1, so they were like 1 point away from a title. And kind of his Danso's efforts at the back here for RC Lens got him in the Ligue 1, whatever you want to say it, team of the season in France. So figured kind of that's a pretty big accomplishment at a club like this. So I just figured this kind of makes the most sense to do a Kevin Danso kit quest was like this season here. And this kind of conveniently, because this time finally the kit that he is wearing in this image here, which was their home kit, because that was he scored a singular goal kind of during the 22-23 campaign. It was in a 1-0 win against Estac Troyes in match week. Scroll down here. Match week. Lens Troyes. Match week 7. Scored with a header. I think that was like off a corner or a set piece at 39 minutes in, and they was at home, so they were wearing the home kit in that match. So I figured that kind of makes the most sense here. So yeah, so it's a Kevin Danso, RC Lens, got a kit quest for the home kit here. So as you kind of surmise, the like kind of introductory video here. So we kind of hit the 2 big points as in what team we're doing and kind of who the player focuses and kind of why. So kind of the last thing I guess to really kind of go through in this kind of intro video is kind of I guess maybe like the board objectives and whatnot in terms of the squad. I don't really know anything about RC Lens, to be completely honest with you. So that's why it's going to be kind of an interesting one here. So I guess the only other thing is Kevin Danso's like teams of the past, where we can kind of draw players from to kind of bolster the squad. Is Kevin Danso? He played for, again, this is kind of be at the senior level, not necessarily the youth level. Yeah, so it seems to play for at the senior level, so like kind of on loans and professionally or whatever. So it's FC Augsburg in the Bundesliga, Southampton in the Premier League. He was on loan there, even though I think that loan was kind of a bit of a disaster, from what I understand. But yeah, so FC Augsburg in the Bundesliga, Southampton for the Premier League, Fortuna Düsseldorf, who let's see when they're, because when he was there, they were in the second Bundesliga, the two Bundesliga. But I'm not really sure what they were. League history. I guess yes, they've been in the Bundesliga 2 since 2020. So yes, the Bundesliga 2 still. So yeah, Fortuna Düsseldorf, and then obviously now Tottenham Hotspur. So those are kind of the clubs we can kind of pull players from there. So it should be interesting ones. We can kind of see what we can do, because it's also like a smaller club. Like I'm pretty sure like at the kind of the screen at the beginning, the problem was it was in dollars, and I switched the currency to kind of the currency of the country if I can, because we're doing mostly European teams, so it's pretty easy to do either pounds for the British English teams and then euros for everyone else, yes, I switched this to the currency to euro, so I'm not really quite sure what our budget is, but it's not big, like at all. Like if we go here, yeah, our budget is 19 million euros, which is not a lot. So it's going to be a very kind of one in, one out kind of situation in terms of transfers in. So we're obviously not going to be transferring in like Harry Kane to play up front here because we have like nowhere near the budget for it. Actually, I'm going to look up right now to try and keep things a little more realistic. Let's go to RC Lons transfer market. Very, very fantastic website, transfer market. Obviously, you want to look at is there like history? Would it be transfers, record arrivals, record departures, maybe? Is that going to be it? Uh, I'm gonna guess this is what it is. Let's see, record arrivals. Yeah, so I think this is it. Yeah. So their biggest kind of fee, it looks like, was actually last season IRL 23-24. It was Eli Wahi. I'm probably butchered your name. Sorry about that. But yeah, 30 million euros was their kind of record fee before that. Their record fee was Luis Openda, I guess still in the squad here, right? Yeah, I think this is like the one season he was at the club before they flipped him to Leipzig. Yeah, there he is. So he was their record transfer before that at 15.39 million euros. So we're going to try and keep, at least for this first season, this like they're kind of that like ins and outs. Like obviously we're going to kind of basically be in that kind of limited in that range because of their actual budget, but like ins and outs mostly in that kind of the kind of range of like 15 million euros or so to start. But then I kind of because I assume well, you never know because I guess they did finish 1 point behind PSG. So if we can like PSG stumble in areas that they in this kind of safe that they did in IRL, and like we kind of keep up with our there because that was the first season I try to match the record. We might be able to win the league title in this first season. You get like pretty big influx of cash and whatnot. But I assume this is probably gonna be a multi-season kit quest just because this is like a relatively smaller club. It doesn't have a huge like kind of pedigree, so we'll see. But kind of looking at it, yeah, that's kind of my feeling. So yeah, their biggest in was that. Let's look at their biggest out. Most valuable departures, I'm going to guess, is Luis Openda out to RB Leipzig, but you never know. Yeah, the biggest outs were. Oh, wait, let me go back to the other thing. Was that like their actual fee or was that their market value? Hold on. I apologize. This website sometimes is a wee bit. I like it a lot, but it's a wee bit confusing. Most valuable arrival. What? Why is this valuable arrivals? This is. I'm now confused. All right. Confused. All right. Yeah, here fee. I want by fee is what I kind of want here. God, it's loading it up. Not free transfer. What the heck? No, it's gotta be I want based on their fee. Oh my God. What is going on here? All right, hold on. Let me go back to their homepage and then try this again. Apologies here. This is kind of me looking at this information live. Transfer rumors, most valuable arrivals. Oh, record arrivals. That's why I was clicking on the wrong thing because I'm an idiot. There we go. Record arrivals. Yeah, so it was 30 million was the in, but then that player apparently, looking at their record departures, they like them they brought him in from Montpellier for 30 million, and then basically it seems like flipped him a year later. So they seem kind of to be doing that kind of thing where they bring a player in, have him for a couple of seasons, and then like flip him out because they're like most of their outs, their record departures are kind of like that same kind of uh, range or so. like Openda, they had him play for this one season, 22-23, then flipped him to Leipzig for 40 million pounds. Who's their kind of record out, and their other record out is, I guess, from this January transfer window. The Kusanov guy who the Man City brought in, and then had like an absolutely disastrous first game. So I guess that's interesting that like probably again probably just butchering your name, Eli Wahi. They flipped him for like a bit of a loss actually because they sold him for 27 million pounds to Marseille, which is interesting. But yeah, so they seem to be kind of operating on that model of like, all right, let's bring people in for like cheap that when they're kind of young. Hopefully they have a pop off, have a good season like Openda did, and I guess Kusanov must have had decent seasons, and watching who's it's and kind of flip these people on to kind of quote unquote bigger clubs for decent cash. So I guess that's kind of somewhat the model we're going to try and take on here, but kind of and then sticking to like the kind of system we use in terms of, as I said, the club like bringing in players from like Danso's other clubs and whatnot. But again, so this first season we're going to try and stick to like, because obviously their record transfer was like 30 million was like after this year where they finished really high and stuff. So the 15 million is kind of going to be my max. For this first season, we'll kind of slowly increase it depending on how many seasons this takes for us to win like the title and the cup. Europe is going to be like an interesting one in the sense that like obviously they're going to make it. We should make it. We're going to make it to Europe after this season, but I'm pretty sure they didn't do too hot in the Champions League, except for the fact that they beat Arsenal. I'm pretty sure in the group stage, which is pretty funny. But let's look it up here. Wikipedia, there's that season. Champions League, yeah, they made it to the. They were in a group with Arsenal, PSV, and Sevilla, and then they end up dropping out. They went 2-2-2, 2-2 2 draws, 2 losses, and dropped out to the Europa League. Who they made it to the knockout phase playoffs, which I'm guessing is like the teams that get bumped down play each other to like. I guess let's actually look at the main article. Knockout phase, qualified team. Yeah, okay. So the runners up in the groups in the Europa League made it to like uh the knockout round playoffs. They play like a team that dropped down. So the second place teams play a team that dropped down from the like the yeah, okay. So they dropped down from the Champions League to the Europa League knockout round playoffs and then got like lost to Freiburg in that kind of knockout playoff round doodad. So they basically were in the Champions League group stage. They beat Arsenal 2-1, which is kind of funny. But then they also got like absolutely smashed by Arsenal 6-0 at away. So, eesh. But them beating Arsenal is kind of funny. Yes, they didn't. They did like all right in Europe, but obviously like them being in Europe kind of allowed them to kind of do make some bigger transfer moves and whatnot. But they did end up kind of dropping off, finishing seventh, which was good enough to qualify for the Conference League playoff format for this current season, which I guess did they end up making the Conference League? Let's look that up. Yeah, Kevin Danso went out. They haven't updated their thing yet, have they? No, they have. I also count that alone. I don't know, quite know. But yeah, oh yeah, so they were. Oh, but they got bumped in the playoff round. It looks like. Coupe de France, they lost to PSG. They're on a 64. That's a terrible matchup for them. They lost to the Greek club Panathinaikos on aggregate in the. Okay. Yeah, sorry if this is like really off. I don't mean just like reading Wikipedia pages during recording this, but this is kind of just me trying to get background information kind of on this stuff. Yeah, so basically, which is kind of relevant to like the projection of this series and whatnot. So yeah, so basically this first season we should make it into Europe, and then kind of like slowly increase our like transfer budget through kind of the prize money and stuff, and like increase our max kind of value for a signing. So like this first season, I also kind of have to go through the squad, which I haven't done yet, and kind of look at all these players and whatnot. Because like France again, kind of I think is one where the rules for like squad construction are like very lax compared to like in England or like even like kind of like our Italy, or like the Inter one, the like non-EU rule, which I found very confusing. Like Ligue 1 seems like it's very, very chill in the sense that like they kind of have a similar thing to the Serie A, where it's like there's like it basically isn't like they don't really do the homegrown versus non-homegrown kind of stuff that like England does. They do like a EU versus non-EU, where it's like the max of 4 non-EU players. But I guess like if you notice, if you kind of scroll through the squad here, a player for the history books. What does that even mean? Like this, you see here like Comoros, like this. You see here like if you scroll through quickly, there's definitely a lot more than like 4 non-EU players in here. I kind of see like you can kind of tell the bulk of them. Kind of just quickly looking at it, a lot of them are from Africa, because I guess how it works in the French league is that like players from countries, like I guess like the treaty kind of expired, agreement expired during this season, quote unquote question mark. Cotonou agreement expired, yeah, in October 2023. So no, that would have been after the season, right? Because this is 22-23. Okay, yeah. See, so basically, the agreement that expires like into this part of the way through the second season here, the Cotonou agreement, which is basically an agreement between like the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States and the EU about like trade and like trying to fight poverty and whatnot. Like the countries from that, I guess players from countries in like that, this Organization of African, Caribbean, Pacific States, which is basically mostly African countries and a couple of Caribbean countries, and it looks like Indonesia maybe and stuff. Member states here. Uh, Caribbean, bunch of those. Pacific, it looks like it's like Pacific, like most of the Pacific Islands, like it's Fiji, Samoa, like kind of Papua New Guinea countries like that. But there are like a lot of African, like most of Africa seems to be in it. Like most of like southern kind of base, the only countries that really don't seem to be in it are like the ones like kind of northern Africa, like on the Mediterranean. It's like most like African countries seem to be in it in some way or form. So like here Mali, like this guy here, Masidio Haidara, like yeah, he's from what Ivory Mali. Like and Mali is in this like the abbreviation is OACPS. Like they're a member nation, so he even though he's from Mali, like he doesn't count as a non-EU player because of the it's like I guess how the French league works in that sense. But so that like we'll kind of keep in mind in terms of squad building in that sense. Like where like players from Africa and stuff like are kind of fair game for like the in the league play, but again because we're gonna eventually seemingly see her make it to the Champions League after this first season. Like we're gonna kind of keep in mind, like we're kind of it's gonna be a similar situation, but similar, I guess similar but different because the rules are a lot more clear, I guess here in the sense compared to like the Bayern one, we're gonna kind of and like um the Inter one, we're gonna kind of focus here on like the Champions League, the UEFA rules, where it's basically kind of very similar to the English rules, where it's basically you have like 4 club trained, 4 association trained, and then everything else is kind of fair game with the max size of 25, which kind of decreases based on the amount of like homegrown and association club team players you have available. So I will have to kind of go through all these guys based on like when their contracts expire and stuff. So like this guy here, as his contract expires at the end of the season, I'm gonna like go more into depth into him, kind of, and see like who does like what and whatnot. But yeah, is that actually is that his right squad number? Hold on, we're gonna look this up. This is the in. This is the out. This is the ins. Okay. Where he at in the ins? Does not seem like he's really. Oh, there he is. So yeah, they brought Danso in for 5.5 million euros, and are basically making a 20 million euro profit or so, kind of getting him to Spurs. Oh no, yeah. So number 4 is his squad number. Okay. Yeah. So he wore 4 this entire time there. He's wearing 4 at Tottenham. Oh, he did wear looks like 38 in his time as Augsburg and Southampton. And then he started wearing number 4 and he was at Dusseldorf, and then kind of switched from there. So good to know. But yes, that is the right squad number. I wasn't sure. But yeah, so we're kind of gonna have to go through all these players to kind of try and kind of keep ish in mind with the like the the French league rules, where it's kind of very kind of basically like as long as you're like from Europe or Africa, you're kind of like count as like homegrown in a sense, where like you don't really matter in terms of like squad construction. Like there's no limit. The only limit is on like non-African players. If you kind of look through the squad here, like we have like what, one Venezuela, one Comoros is in Africa. I'm pretty sure that's in that list here. Let me go to the Wikipedia page here. Yeah, they're in the Eastern and Southern Africa group. Sorry for yawning. This is the guy that's from Venezuela is one. Colombia here, that's two. Mali's in the kind of OACPS, that doesn't count. Argentina, that's three. Cape Verde is in Africa, so that doesn't count. Poland, Ghana, Africa, all right, they're in the thing, all right? Yeah, so he doesn't count. Senegal doesn't count for that either. Cameroon. Oh, are they not actually in it? Let's scroll. Oh, Cameroon is in it, so that he doesn't count either. Ivory Coast is in it as well. He doesn't count either. Portugal's in Europe. France, Belgium, Poland, France. Yeah, so it looks like the only ones are it's the goalkeeper here from Venezuela, this left wing back from Colombia, and this other center back from Argentina are the only three, so they're one below that limit seemingly here. So yeah, so basically we're gonna kind of try and keep to that, like so four players or less from basically South America, North America, Asia, for the most part, aside from like the it's like Pacific Island nations, and then the Caribbean's also kind of fair game for the most part. Looks like here, but it seems like it's a lot of the smaller nations here. Like it's like I don't see Jamaica on here. Oh no, Jamaica is on here. Ooh. So like hypothetically, Mikhail Antonio would be like, or Leon Bailey, but those are probably gonna be like way over the transfer limit. Would be like kind of viable options for us, which is interesting. So I kind of like this. This is gonna be like a fun squad building one. In the sense, kind of keeping. Well, I guess those players are also haven't played for the relevant clubs, so it doesn't really matter in that sense. But so yes, this kind of gives me a little bit more interesting freedom in terms of like the homegrown, non-homegrown stuff. I guess kind of, sorta, in a sense. But like, if we're gonna keep the European rules, not really. But yeah, so it should be interesting squad building here because like, as a kind of this whole rambling rant is basically the clubs are it's Augsburg, Southampton, Fortuna Dusseldorf, and Spurs are the clubs that Danso has played at previously in terms of professionally, because he was at like the MK Dons Academy or whatever, but that doesn't matter because that's youth. He never played like a senior appearance for them. So Augsburg, Southampton, Dusseldorf, Spurs, boom, and then French players because like our manager here is French. It's John Alter, but again, like that's gonna be kind of on done explanatory in the sense this is a French club, so like our club trained players are all gonna be from France for the most part and whatnot. So yeah, try and keep to the kind of the UEFA rules, but kind of have a little bit more fun and freedom with these kind of somewhat relaxed French rules, and kind of build a squad that way. So that should be fun. This squad isn't that like crash hot in terms of overalls for the most part, but I think it's kind of basically the tactics that the manager, whose name was Frank Heiss, kind of implemented. Which again, kind of I haven't set them up yet. In terms of this isn't like what it's going to look like. But again, I'll link the video that I used. It's a different channel than I usually use, but I kind of basically just typed in Frank Heiss tactics on YouTube. This other channel popped up with like a video, so I was like, I'll use the tactics from this video because the channel I usually use doesn't have one. So I figured why not try that. So we'll try these tactics for them. They seem kind of like interesting and fun. So I tried like these supposedly realistic tactics. So the video for that will be linked in the description. So I guess the last thing we can kind of do here is this intro video. This is kind of like the mine one longer than I kind of expected it would be. We're gonna kind of pop off and go to the board objectives here. Kind of look through them quick, which most of them are kind of like they don't really seem to care that much. This board is kind of chill because we are, I guess, a smaller club, quote unquote. So it looks like youth development is signed 2 players under 20, which maybe it might be a thing in the sense that like Huh, sorry about that. My headphones lead just like died. So that's why it's that weird, awkward pause. But yeah, so looks like the signed players under 20 might be a thing because like those players are going to be cheaper, obviously in game. So I might be able to get like an Archie Gray hypothetically, or like a someone like that, like a younger player with like high potential that way. So that might be an option, depending on how the squad. I have to look through, as I said, look through the squad in more detail and whatnot. The 4 Youth Academy ones, that's like easy enough to do. Brand exposure, replace 3 players from the team again. Again, that's going to kind of be a like, depending, I have to look at the squad and stuff, but it shouldn't be too hard, hypothetically, to do in terms of like financial. Looks like within the same season, sorry, too crucial. Sorry for that. No, this video is kind of a mess, but apologies for all the yawning. Within the same season, sign 2 crucial players to make a profit of 30 million euros. That shouldn't be too hard in the sense that, like, again, we're going to try and stick to like our in like per like an individual signing. Basically, it's going to be like, which basically almost our entire budget is 15 million euros. So we're going to kind of have to like keep it on the low like that. So that shouldn't be too hard. Hypothetically, if I actually end up signing 2 crucial players, it's going to be the kind of stickler for that one. Domestic success is finished in the Champions League place, which I'm assuming is like top 4 or so, which we should do. Basically, we should finish second, hypothetically. And then the National Cup, we should reach the round of 16 stage. I don't think they did. Maybe they reached. What did they reach in this season IRL? Coupe de France. Yeah, the quarterfinals is where they kind of got bounced. We should make it to at least the round of 16 based on that. So we should be able to complete that at both these objectives without any issues. Continental success, obviously we don't have anything because we are in Europe this season. But yes, these objectives are not bad, TBH. So we'll kind of see. I should have no troubles completing most of them, but again, the board just seems kind of chill because they're all like relatively low priority kind of things here. So yeah, but I think that's kind of it. We've hit like who the player focuses. Again, is Kevin Danso. I'm gonna pull him up here, I guess, at the end. Like, gotta just wrap things up here. Here he is. Yes, the player focuses on Kevin Danso here at RC Lens. So kind of what success looks like, again, is probably going to be, because this is like a medium-sized club, I guess. It isn't like a tiny, tiny club or a shift to fear relegation. So like any trophy is good. Like their history, looking at like transfer market, they've won the league once, they've won the cup once, they've been promoted, I guess, 4 times, and they won some other cup that I haven't heard of before a couple of times. So they've won like each trophy. I guess that's each trophy once in their history. But like, so we'll kind of try and build them up here. Again, the only issue is going to basically be like the past 5 match history of the format I kind of use, but we'll see. I'll try my best. I guess this one we shouldn't, unless we somehow, because we did finish second, like end up finishing first and win the league this first season and potentially win the cup this first season somehow. I might then call it quits at this first season. But I don't really think that's going to happen because I feel like PSG in this game is kind of probably going to blow through like the league without like any issues. So even though we have a pretty solid season, we're probably going to finish second. But yeah, so we'll try and kind of win as much, like at least the league and the cup. Europe is kind of going to be like, because they don't always have much European pedigree in that sense. So it's not like they should be expecting really to win a European trophy. If they do, it'd be nice. If they don't, they're going to kind of, it's whatever. So that's going to kind of be the goals for that one. So the next video will be the kind of recap after this 22-23 season where we should finish second. But we'll see what happens there. So thank you for watching this kind of long and somewhat rambly intro video to this kit quest, and hopefully you check out the kind of season recap, which will be the next video as well. Thank you.